Prince Andrew's scandal. Not for the faint of heart. This royal is perhaps the most widely criticized and demonized member of the royal family ever. But what did he do to become such a villain? We've got the full story here. Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, was born Andrew Albert Christian Edward on February 19, 1960. He was the third child of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, and the younger brother of King Charles III. Like his siblings, Andrew was looked after by a governess who ensured his early education at Buckingham Palace. He attended Heatherdown School and then Gordonston School in Scotland, where he boarded. His father and brother had also attended this school. He had a reputation for telling off-color jokes and was nicknamed the Sniggerer because of that. Some reports say that classmates who knew him say that he was boastful and somewhat of a bully. Several news outlets have reported that Andrew has also always been a womanizer. A source in Vanity Fair revealed that Andrew always seemed awkward at parties unless he had a girl fawning over him. It is apparent that the prince always had a thing for the ladies from a young age. But what does that have to do with the controversies that have found him recently? Well, everything. Beginning with his own wife, Andrew always liked the girls who were off-limits, so to speak. Sarah Ferguson, the woman who became his own wife, was deeply disliked by his father, Prince Philip. It was reported that he disliked her so much that she knew she was not welcome when he was around. Media reported that it was Sarah's whole attitude toward royal life that did not sit right with Prince Philip. Fergie, as she was called, had what Grazia magazine described as awful lapses of judgment. Those lapses included multiple love affairs and a declaration of bankruptcy with over $8 million in debt. The couple divorced in 1996 after years of rumored infidelity and growing apart. Grazia magazine reported that in 2010, the prince's dislike of his daughter-in-law turned into full-on hatred when she tried to sell access to Prince Andrew for $500,000. The whole debacle caused such a frenzy that Fergie even appeared on Oprah to try and defend her actions. Once the couple was divorced, the Queen famously gave Fergie nothing, as she was truly disliked among the royal family. However, Fergie and her ex Prince Andrew have quite the unconventional relationship as they still live together at Windsor. But this isn't the only unconventional relationship Prince Andrew has engaged in, which brings us to our next problem with the royal son. In March of 2011, it got out. BBC News began reporting that the friendship between Prince Andrew and American financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein was under intense scrutiny. There were calls for the prince to step down from his role as trade envoy. Prince Andrew decided to take a step back from his royal duties with the permission of his mother, Queen Elizabeth. It was reported that in July of 2011, Andrew's role as trade envoy was indeed terminated, and he had apparently cut all ties with the convicted sex offender. But that wasn't going to stop the fire from burning. On December 14th, a court filing stated that Prince Andrew was one of several prominent figures to have participated in sexual activities with a minor later identified as Virginia Giuffre. Giuffre was allegedly trafficked by the late Jeffrey Epstein. The pressure continued to mount, and in December of 2015, the media pressured Buckingham Palace to explain Andrew's connections to Epstein. The palace, who does not always respond to allegations, felt the dire need to set this one straight. They released a statement saying, "Any suggestion of impropriety with underage minors is categorically untrue." Giuffre's lawyers continued to request a statement from Andrew given under oath, but those requests were denied. The media and the world watched with bated breath. Giuffre claimed that she had sex with Prince Andrew on 3 different occasions. One of the times included a trip to London when she was just 17. Giuffre said that Epstein paid her $15,000 after she had sex with Andrew. Although Prince Andrew has denied these claims, photos even surfaced of the prince with his arm around Giuffre in the places she asserted they had their affairs. Giuffre said that she was pressured to have sex with Andrew and that she wouldn't have objected as Epstein had contacts who could kill or abduct her. She was truly a prisoner of abuse and fear. Despite Prince Andrew's adamant and frequent denials, John Alessi, who was Epstein's butler, stated that Prince Andrew's visits were more frequent than had been originally thought. In fact, he said Andrew spent weeks with them and even received daily massages. On August 10, 2019, the world was stunned when it was announced that convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein had committed suicide. Because Epstein had highly sensitive and compromising information regarding various powerful figures, it has been suggested by various people Epstein may have actually been murdered, but this is something that has not yet been proven. In August of 2019, Andrew released the following statement: "At no stage during the limited time I spent with Epstein did I see, witness, or suspect any behavior of the sort that subsequently led to his arrest and conviction." But the drama surrounding this devious controversy only got bigger and bigger. Ghislaine Maxwell was now under serious heat for her involvement with Epstein and his sex trafficking accusations. Various sources came out and said that not only was Prince Andrew close with Epstein, he was also close with Maxwell. Former Royal Protection Officer Paul Page recounted Maxwell's frequent visits to Buckingham Palace, as well as Andrew's attendance at various social gatherings held by Maxwell. Things were not looking good for Andrew, or the royal family, who was also under intense pressure at this point. Controversy seemed to follow Andrew wherever he went. At the end of August 2019, the New Republic published an email exchange between John Brockman and Evgeny Morozov. Brockman states that he saw a British man named Andy receive a foot massage from 2 Russian women at Epstein's New York home in 2010, and had realized that the recipient of Irina's foot massage was His Royal Highness Prince Andrew, the Duke of York. The world was intent on finding out the truth, and the media was having an absolute field day with the stories and photographs that continually poured in featuring Andrew and his many scandals. In August of 2021, Virginia Giuffre sued Prince Andrew in the Federal District Court for the Southern District of New York, accusing him of sexual assault and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Giuffre was 17 at the time of Andrew's alleged crimes against her. On October 29, 2021, Andrew's lawyers issued a statement that their client unequivocally denies Giuffre's false allegations, but the judge overseeing the case rejected Andrew's attempts to dismiss the case, allowing the lawsuit to proceed. In February of 2022, Andrew and Giuffre reached an out-of-court settlement, and the case was dismissed without going to trial. It is rumored that Andrew paid Giuffre $16 million to settle the case. Andrew's controversies are considered to be the worst public relations crisis since Princess Diana's untimely death. Queen Elizabeth abruptly stripped Andrew of his royal patronages, honorary military titles, and any official use of his HRH title. The palace had never seen a catastrophe quite like this, and the Queen had never issued a reaction so severe. The palace confirmed that Andrew was to step down from all 230 of his patronages, and various institutions and organizations demanded to have Andrew's role removed from their operation. In May 2020, it was announced that Andrew would retire any and all public roles due to his ties with Epstein. In August of 2020, a scene outside of the palace was one that had never been seen before. Anti-child trafficking protesters were holding signs chanting "pedophile, pedophile." One can only imagine how stressful this was for the royal family members inside the palace walls. Countless organizations and businesses severed ties with the disgraced prince. The raceway, Duke of York Stakes, became York Racecourse. Prince Andrew High School in Nova Scotia became Woodlawn High School. Andrew's name was removed from various other places, and flags were not flown for his birthday as they were in the past. The world was looking down on the prince, and there was no running from it now. His page on the royal family's website was rewritten to be in past tense, and he was no longer living a public life. All of his social media accounts were deleted. He was doing his best to step out of the spotlight and hopefully avoid jail time. In January of 2023, it was reported that Andrew could no longer use his suite of rooms at Buckingham Palace. Andrew had successfully ruined his life, and most people agree that the prince is better off keeping his head down, despite his continual insistence that he is innocent of the allegations brought against him. But the royal family quickly and forcefully distanced themselves with the intense scandal and toxicity brought on by the allegations against Prince Andrew. So what exactly does this long-winded, messy scandal mean for the crown itself? In January of 2022, Bloomberg News reported that while the Queen has long been incredibly popular in Britain, a younger generation is unlikely to look kindly on the crown as scandal engulfs her favorite son. public perception of the royal brand has been undoubtedly tainted, and trust in the family was certainly damaged due to this unprecedented scandal. But the crown has certainly seen and dealt with scandal before, just never of this magnitude. When recordings of King Charles and Princess Diana's phone conversations with their lovers was revealed, the palace walls shook. But still, it was nothing like this. Now that Queen Elizabeth is no longer sitting on the throne, things for Prince Andrew are not nearly as rosy as they were. And in January of 2023, King Charles made it clear where he stands. Andrew was asked to vacate the Buckingham Palace apartment he has occupied for decades. Rumors have it that he had used the apartment as a bachelor pad of sorts for many years, bringing many girlfriends back there, including model Caprice. This says a lot about King Charles's plans on dealing with his disgraced brother, and more likely that he won't be dealing with him much at all. What does this mean for Andrew? Well, for one, it means that there really is no path back to public life. Any and all duties, titles, and honors have been stripped away from him, and for good reason. In a Fox News article, Felton Spence said, "The King and Prince William are on a protect-at-all-costs mentality, and it is said that both King Charles and Prince William are in agreement that Andrew has no future as a working member of the royal family whatsoever." Andrew's eviction from Buckingham Palace comes about a year after the settlement between him and Geoffrey. Prince Andrew continues to insist that he is innocent, and there are reports that he is planning to take legal action against Geoffrey. Palace insiders agree, however, that the damage is done. Even if Prince Andrew were to win a legal battle, it would only do more harm than good. The amount of negative attention and press that the entire debacle has thrust onto the crown is almost unfathomable. Any more would be highly destructive. The crown and the royal brand is highly dependent on the support of the public. They have long held a wonderful reputation and seemingly endless love from their supporters. But with the beloved queen gone and a new king in town, the royal family has to be very careful how they proceed from here on out. The support the royal family receives is highest from the older age groups. Their challenge will be gaining the trust and support from younger age groups as they go on. A 2022 poll showed that only 33% of those aged 18 to 24 supported the monarchy. This number gradually increased as the ages did, with the highest support coming from the 65 and over age group. So what does this mean for the crown? Prince William has long ranked as the most popular member of the royal family. He is even more popular than his own father, the king, but his importance lies in his ability to reach younger generations and modernize the monarchy in a way that guarantees its future. Prince Andrew's scandal was anything but easy to manage, but the royal family did their absolute best to move on from it and separate themselves from any values that do not align with their own. That is something we can all respect. And at the end of the day, Prince Andrew is his own man. He made his bed, and now he certainly lies in it, but not at Buckingham Palace.